Welcome to the Airbnb Blueprint Podcast, your go-to training hub for building your very own Airbnb business. In each episode, we break down the exact blueprint that helps us build a multi-six-figure Airbnb business from scratch, and we'll show you how to do the same. Continue learning with us for free in the Airbnb Blueprint coaching community on Facebook. Find the link in our show notes below. Commit, believe, succeed. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Thanks for joining me here. Sticking with the theme of the power of lead generation, selling these bookings, selling these deals. I just wanted to give you a little bit of context and bring to you a story of one of our previous mentees. I'm not going to use his real name because I haven't asked his permission, even though I'm absolutely sure he'd have no problem whatsoever with sharing the story because it's so powerful. We're going to call him John, and John came to us brand new about a year ago, looking to get involved in the serviced accommodation game and very eager to get involved with rent to rent. Very smart guy, very educated, very driven, very hungry, very excited. And, you know, from the start, from the get-go, we kind of knew he was going to do well because he's just that kind of a guy. So we sat down with him, went through the blueprint, asked him where he wanted to be and how quick did he want to get there. And we devised the plan that worked for him. And that involved him going out and getting his first 2 rent-to-rent deals, which is something that we've always been very clear and upfront about. We've never promoted the idea of building a large rent-to-rent business, but we're not against the idea of taking on 1 or 2 and really cutting your teeth, learning the industry, getting the connections, getting a feel for it, understanding how the business works. And then from there, you can obviously branch out and you can go into different things and you can start to build periphery businesses, whatever kind of interests you around the immediate business of serviced accommodation, right? So we're not against that. So we got John to go out and get his first couple of deals. Happened reasonably quickly, like anything. Took some time building relationships, speaking with agents. We actually helped to negotiate his first deal and got started in the rent-to-rent game, and it all was going quite well. At this point, he was on a viewing and he was looking at potentially taking on another property because he'd started to build relationships with agents. And now, instead of him going out and scrapping, trying to find the deals, he was getting the phone calls coming in. He was getting the leads coming in through all of his hard work, and he's going to the networking events and building relationships and nurturing these relationships. So he did get an offer about another potential property. He went to view the property, and it just happened to turn out. We'd already been working with John on the idea of selling leads and lead generation and selling these bookings as a way of making lots of additional income. So he had the education, he had the knowledge, he knew exactly what he needed to do, and we were just waiting for the opportunity to come along. So John happened to be on this viewing. He went to see this property, and there was another person at the property that was viewing at the same time as John. So because of John's training, because of what we'd showed him to do and really drove home the idea of him building relationships, he listened to what this other gentleman was asking for, and he heard that this gentleman was from the HS2 project. This was up in Birmingham for the HS2 phase, and he was actually looking for this property to house some of his employees for the HS2 project. So John, being John, very smart guy, hungry guy, immediately struck up the conversation and said, look, I provide serviced accommodation. I can source the accommodation, whatever it is you need, wherever you need it, for your employees for the HS2 project. And we're not just talking about a couple of guys. We were talking about, I think it was 20 to 30 people for a minimum of 12 months. So we're talking about multiple properties for a long period of time and a lot of money. So John nurtured that relationship. They exchanged information, exchanged phone numbers, and John then maintained and nurtured that relationship moving forward. And he was actually given a proposal to go out and source a large amount of accommodation for this gentleman to house his employees for this HS2 project. We worked with John, and he already had the knowledge and the education and the information. He knew what to do. He knew where to went. He knew who to ask. He knew what groups and information to put out there and how to create the proposals and put out the requests. And the leads started to come in, and he actually did find all of the properties that this gentleman needed for his employees. We helped him with the contractual part of the agreement, with all of the different hosts, and almost within the space of a few weeks, John did a deal for 4 properties for 12 months to host 30 of this person's employees for the HS2 project for the next year, and ended up locking in a deal which was going to generate him £5,000 to £6,000 a month in straight up commission fees every month for the next 12 months. And it was a huge moment for John. It was a life-changing moment for John. It was a huge moment for us as well, because we was so happy, and it was just so great to see what the education that we'd given to John actually come through and change this guy's life. And after that moment, he kind of realized and really understood the power of what was possible with this strategy of just simply getting in leads and matching those leads with a provider, and then sitting back and taking commission. And still, we're only just about 3 or 4 months in. John does absolutely nothing. He sits at home. The deal's done. The contracts have been signed. And every single month, the hosts that are, by the way, also winning by getting a fantastic booking for 12 months, which is going to go way past that, by the way. It's probably going to go on to 18 months, 2 years. As we know, the HS2 project is not finishing anytime soon. He's getting paid every single month alongside his job, which also generates a fantastic income, and also alongside his other rent-to-rent Airbnb properties that he's also using to facilitate these HS2 projects. So I just wanted to talk about that and give you an idea of what's possible, what can happen. Yes, there was an element of luck that was involved. It was called being in the right time at the right place, but also he took action. He knew what to say, he knew what to ask, and he immediately knew how to take advantage of an opportunity that dropped out the sky into his lap. And I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear that that was the last rent-to-rent deal that John took on. It stuck with those 2 because he realized, after dealing with these rent-to-rent properties and some of the headaches he'd had with guests and worrying about whether or not he's going to get booked and struggling with rates and trying to compete with a very, very saturated market, he's now doing phenomenally well just simply doing this strategy. So he's very clued up on the lead gen. He's very clued up on how to find these clients, and then how to go out and connect them with suitable properties. He's very, very busy as well at networking. He's a great networker, goes to all of the contractor conferences and all of the networking meetings, and he's now got a very continuous flow of clients coming in, and he's making an incredible amount of money. He's one of our most successful mentees to date. So it's just an example really of somebody who came in very excited, very hungry, very driven, wanting to build a rent-to-rent portfolio, but very quickly realizing after working with us that there was better ways and safer ways and faster ways to scale a very successful and very low risk serviced accommodation business without all of the liability of taking on lots of properties and then dealing with the guests and scrapping around for rates and all this kind of stuff that we've spoken about. So yeah, great success story, something that I thought was worth sharing. And, who knows, maybe I'll speak to the real person and see if he'll come on to the group and, have a little chat and answer some questions. but really, really cool. And this stuff is available to anyone, guys. This stuff can be done by anyone. All you need is a phone, a laptop, and a desire to go out and find these bookings. And here's the best thing as well. You can, within reason, do this stuff from pretty much anywhere in the world. So obviously Pooh's here, I'm in Spain, we work together, but a lot of it can be done remotely because you're not dealing with the guests. You're not having to go to the properties. You're simply connecting these people with a host. So it's fantastic in every single possible way. So if you want to learn more about it, head over to the Facebook group. Like I say on every episode, you've got to go to the show notes, click on the link that will take you to the Facebook group and start consuming the content over there and get involved in this exciting strategy. Get ahead of the curve. Yes, there's obviously plenty of companies out there that are doing this stuff. That's all they do. But there are a lot fewer people doing this than doing rent to rent. The ship has started to sail on that now. We've got to get creative. We've got to get busy. We've got to get creative. And this is where you want to be in 2025 moving forward. We want to be supplying the bookings. We don't want to be fighting, trying to get them. We want to be bringing them in and then selling them on and making great money and building that recurring income stream. So head over to the Facebook group. We'll see you there. Thanks so much for listening. Until next week, we'll see you on another episode of the Airbnb Blueprint podcast. Take care.